Okay, so we're trying to build relationships with our customers, right? We're trying to make sure that customers' needs and wants are satisfied, make sure that we retain our customers, make sure that they're our advocate. So the textbook talks about reach, richness, and affiliation. So when we say reach, we're talking about our access and connection to our customers. When we talk about richness, we're really in a different world today, and it's probably different than it's ever been at any time in our history, where there's a two-way flow of information. It's actually pretty sad. You can think that everything that a company has ever said, every message that they've ever put out there can be scrutinized 20, 30, 40 years later, but that's kind of the way it is. Everything's being archived. Somebody's got a camera going all the time. And yeah, it can come back and bite you. But you want that richness of that relationship where your customer actually gives you feedback. You need to treat customer complaints as something to be managed. You need to expect customer complaints. If you're not getting customer complaints, you probably are losing customers because people don't feel that you're accessible enough and that they can actually communicate with you. When a customer complains, they're giving you the opportunity to repair whatever their complaint was. And when we say affiliation, we're going beyond just that two-way flow of information. We want our company to actually identify with us. And maybe one of the best companies I can think of that's done that is Yeti coolers. Um, they come with a sticker, a decal, every product that you buy, and people put those decals on their vehicles and on their cups and on their laptops and everything else. And that's the affiliation that we're seeking, that companies are seeking. They want you to actually identify and be an advocate, kind of be a brand advocate for them, that you go out and tell people about them. So I want you to think about Amazon.com. Amazon's mission statement says that they want to become the Earth's most customer-centric company. So when they say customer-centric, they're putting the customer at the center of everything that they do. The customer is the reason for their existence. So they're seeking to build those relationships. I can well remember when I first went to college, and yeah, I can remember that long. Y'all stop it. Almost 35 years ago, one of the first things that happened when we went to the bookstore to purchase our books was there was a printed credit card application in the bag with the books when we bought that. Visa and MasterCard and different banks had actually paid to have that inserted. What were they trying to do? They were trying to become the very first credit card that a college student got. And it worked, right? So that was really the old days where you actually had to fill out a credit card application and send it in the mail and then wait for them to tell you whether or not they approved you. It's not automatic like it is today. But why were they doing that? They know that there's a great deal of brand loyalty that comes from being the first. And they wanted to have that first relationship with college students, okay? So as we begin to sell our products and services, we have to make the decision, as I mentioned in the earlier presentation, who do we sell to? You get to decide that. Now, in general, we could say that there's two markets. There's business to business and there's business to consumer. The textbook talks about consumer markets and industrial markets. And most businesses don't sell to industrial customers and to consumers. You're either B2B or B2C. But we want to cluster together our customers that have similar needs, that have similar wants. We want it's easier to serve a homogeneous group. Now, of course, if you can serve everybody, that's great, but there's very few businesses that can identify everyone as their customer. So we need to segment. We can do that on the basis of the market, consumer or industrial. We can do it within consumer markets on the basis of demographics, age, income, sex, race, or ethnicity. We can do it based on socioeconomic factors, social class, your stage in the family life cycle, whether you have small children at home, for instance. Geographic factors, you can do it based on regions. Obviously, we're in Texas, but we're a border county with Oklahoma. So you have to think about selling products across state lines, and that may introduce a whole set of complications, but yeah, that's a possibility. Then there's psychographics or psychological factors, there's consumption patterns, there's perceptual factors. We can segment our consumer markets based on that. For our industrial markets, we can segment them based on what industry they're in. We can look at their SIC code, SIC code, or their NAICS code, North American Industry Classification Code, and we can actually do research to find out who the customers are within those markets, and then we can target them directly. We can segment our market by products, we can segment by geography, by what triggers people to buy, or we could segment by size. So there's lots of different ways that we can reach our customers, and we can decide who we want to satisfy. So we obviously have to make the decision of what needs do we want to satisfy, what customer needs do we want to satisfy. And we can ask the question as well, do I satisfy needs or do I satisfy wants? You know, there's a fine line between a need and a want. If you don't believe it, just ask your little 10-year-old cousin who'll tell you they need something. What they really mean is they want something. Or maybe it's, maybe it's your little brother or little sister. You take them to the grocery store and they tell you that they need some ice cream. Well, yeah, nobody really needs ice cream, but we sure do love our Bluebell, don't we? So you have to ask the question, is it better to satisfy the customer's needs or their wants? And in a market economy, that is up to you. You get to make that decision, okay? So when we have business level strategy, all right, we're deciding in business level strategy how we satisfy our customers' needs and wants. We want to position ourselves apart from our competitors. We want to be distinct. I'm trying not to use the word different because one of the generic strategies is differentiation. And what we really want with business level strategy is to be different, but let's not think of it as different because that naturally leads towards differentiation. Instead, let's think about it as distinct. What makes our product or service unique and preferred to our customers, okay? So there's two options. You can perform activities differently or you can perform different activities. Now, I'll give you the example here of a car dealership in Valdosta, Georgia. It's the Prince Automotive Group. And they have a commercial, and it's been running, gosh, it's been running for probably 25 years now. But their jingle is Prince Automotive Group, we do things differently here. You know, if you think about a car dealership, they pretty much all do the same thing, right? Car dealerships sell new cars, they sell used cars, they take used cars in on trade-in. They've probably got a service department, they've probably got a body repair shop, and they've probably got a detail department. You know, they do the same things. Dealerships are very similar, and particularly within families of dealerships. If you go to, like Chevrolet dealers are all very similar, and Ram dealers are all very similar. Okay, so they can't do different things, but they can do things differently. And specifically what Prince was after with their jingle, which is still today, they still use it today, is we do things differently here. Okay, in other words, we do the same stuff as other car dealers, but we do things differently here. Okay, all right, thank you for tuning in, and next video we're going to talk about cost leadership strategy.